Alright guys, welcome in. This is Hanging Out with Dave, episode 55 this week. Can't believe it's been 55 weeks I've actually been doing this. Maybe a few extra because there's a couple weekends I had to miss because of family issues and whatnot. Welcome in, welcome in. This is a little bit of a live stream that I do. Do it every Saturday morning, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here, usually here in the U.S. It's kind of a Q&A pretty much, kind of go down through the questions, comments, concerns been left on my videos for the past week. Anything you guys have, if you're watching live, throw over there in chat. I'll be more than happy to oblige and answer the best that I can. There's quite a few disclaimers that I throw out every weekend, and I'll probably continue to do so. Number one, I do enjoy me a cold beer while I do this, so cheers to y'all. Hope Saturday's finding y'all well. Number two, I believe the foul language will come into play. So yeah, there is foul language on the stream. I try to keep it to a very minimum, but it does come out. Some people leave them in the chat or whatnot, and I don't bleep them out. I do say them. I am a truck driver by trade, so it does slip out from time to time, which I try not to, but it does happen. If the drinking or the foul language ain't something that you're really too happy with or too concerned about, maybe this ain't the right stream for you. Just throwing that out there. Also, when it comes to overclocking questions, I'm not sure if I got any back this week or not. I think there is a couple of them. People ask me, when it comes to overclocking, I got these components, what can I get out of them? I don't know. Even if I had the exact same parts, yours may do better than mine, may not do quite as good as mine. But, I try to answer them the best that I can. But, it's kind of the fun of overclocking is to see what you can get out of your components. What kind of performance boost you can get out of them. So there is that one. What's the other one? Oh, yeah, I know the other one. I ain't very good with the English language, little alone the YouTube handles you guys have. So, if I butcher your names too bad, you have to forgive me. I try not to butcher them too bad, but it does happen from time to time. Either you're going to forgive me or you're going to be mad at me for a very long time, whichever way the situation may be and how you feel. So there is that one. One other thing I like to say right up front, I say at the end as well, I like to thank y'all for your support. I like to thank y'all for hanging out with me, watching my videos, leaving the comments, the questions, and the concerns, which that's what makes the live stream possible here on Saturday mornings. All the likes and the shares, I really like them as well. I want to appreciate them and tell you all thanks for them. I know I got here in the community, there's quite a few people that watch every video I put up, even though it really don't interest them. But they do watch every video, and I want to thank you all for that. Appreciate that. The guys that leave the comments, asking the questions, comments, I want to thank them. They may be new to the community or they may not even have subscribed, but, I still want to give them a big thank you, They may not even be watching today, but that's fine too. They may not even be watching the playback of this, but that's fine as well. They still deserve a big thank you, and I will say it again at the end of the show. After I go through the questions, comments, and concerns, and go through chat, I'll be answering chat as much as I can whenever I catch them here. A couple weeks ago, I had problems with chat, so I'm hoping chat's working today. No one's typed anything, so I'm not sure if it is or not, but I'm hoping it is. And then, we'll go into what's coming up on the channel and whatnot, what you can expect later on the channel, and all that good happy stuff. I think that's about enough for the self-promotion down here at the bottom. We can get rid of that stuff. Well, I'm going to kick you guys over here, and we're going to start going down through these questions, comments, and concerns. Here we go. We do have quite a few of them this week. We've got almost 30 of them this week. We're going to start out down here at the bottom. We got MDJWP 6 days ago. That was on last week's live stream, episode 54. He says, "You are a goat." Well, I looked up goat, and I really don't want to be referred to as a farm animal. So I think that means the greatest of all time. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Then we have GeoPro Mazzola, I guess we pronounce that. How to build a gaming PC in the Fractal Design Focus G 2019. Nice, man. This is going to be very helpful. Well, thank you. I hope your building that Focus G goes pretty well for you. We do have Alexis Resumas, I guess. How to overclock your RAM on the B450M. Do you know how to actually tune it to spec? I have 3200 and I followed you step by step. My computer keeps crashing since I did this. You may not be able to get 3200 megahertz out of that RAM. Even though you paid for 3200 megahertz, you may have to kick that timing, the speed of it back down to like 2933 or something like that. But if it keeps crashing and stuff like that, it's an unstable overclock. Just because your RAM's rated for 3200 megahertz don't mean you're going to be able to get the full performance out of your RAM. I don't know how else to really answer that question. I mean, without having your exact system here to actually play around with it, I really don't know how to answer that. It's one of them overclocking questions that I really can't answer for you. We have Oblivion 69, 6 days ago. How to overclock your RAM on the Gigabyte B450M DS3H motherboard. Whenever I turn my XMP profile to 3600, my PC restarts itself whenever I start any game. Again, that's a sign of unstable overclock. So, yeah, you may have to turn them timings down some. You may not be able to get that full 3600 speeds out of it. Well, that would be that'd be my guesstimation. We have Haitian. How to disable onboard graphics. I don't get integrated graphics options. You're only going to have integrated graphics options in your BIOS if you have an APU. So you have to be running 2200G, 2400G, 3200G, 3400G, or even one of the Celeron, or yeah, I think there was one of the dual core that has integrated graphics. If you don't have integrated graphics, you ain't going to have the onboard graphics option in the menu. What else do we got here? We have Urzatul Azam, I guess. How to update the BIOS on the Gigabyte B450M. I have the Ryzen 3 3200G and a new BIOS is here, F60C. Do I have to update the BIOS? If you're happy with the performance you're getting out of your machine, no. Updating the BIOS usually does with RAM compatibility. May give you a little bit better clock speeds out of your processor or something like that. I mean, you really don't necessarily have to update it. But, you know, back in the day, that was one of the ways that most techs would improve the efficiency of a machine or get better performance out of them just by simply updating the BIOS, which back then it was a lot harder to do than it is today. But you wouldn't necessarily have to update if you don't want to. That's kind of a personal decision. Let's see here. We have Trazin Assam. How to overclock your RAM on the B450. My G-Skills Ripjaws is 3200 megahertz, but running 2133. Why? My motherboard is the B450 DS3H. My CPU is a Ryzen 3 3200G. It's running 2133 stock out of the box. Most of your DDR4 RAM will run at 2133 unless you go in and enable XMP profile, you overclock it, it'll be running at 2133. Just like I showed you in that video, just go in, hit the XMP profile. G-Skill's Ripjaw's 5 series RAM is usually pretty good about overclocking with AMD. So yeah, you pay for the 3200 megahertz. It's running at 2133 because that's the stock frequency out of the box without the XMP profile turned on. If you go in and turn that profile on, you got a pretty good chance of it running at 3200 megahertz, but you do have to overclock it. We have Titanium 1228 4 days ago. That was on the RTX 5600 XT WindForce OC. Humble guy. You deserve thumbs up and a sub. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. We have Alex the Pass. That's the way I'm going to pronounce that one. On how to update the BIOS on the B450 DS3H motherboard. This guy is high or drunk. No, just extremely tired on that video. I wasn't getting much sleep at that time in my life. I still don't get much sleep. But yeah, I wasn't drunk or high, just tired. Drinking, if I'd have done it on a weekend, yeah, I may have had a few beers in me, but high, I don't do that stuff, so I know I wasn't high for a fact. Let's see here, we have Moonly PR. How to overclock your RAM on the B550 motherboard. I want to know what is better for the motherboard, C16 or C14, 3600 megahertz. If you can get C14 for not much more than what a C16 costs, I go with the C14. That's the castellacy in your RAM. The lower that number is, the better the RAM kit usually is, and the better performance you can get out of it. So if you can get them for close to the same price or whatnot, you know, I'd definitely go with the C14 over the C16, depending on what the prices is and what your budget is on it. You always want to, you know, once you find the RAM speed that you want, you know, then that's the second thing I look at, is the castellacy, which that's what the C numbers mean. You know, the lower that number, the better, the faster it is. So I'd definitely go with the C14 if you could. Let's see here. We have Nate Plays 3 days ago. The Gigabyte Radeon RX 5600 XT WindForce OC unboxing and overview. Hey man, nice. Video, really nice to see a very simple video that is very easy to follow. Liked and subbed. I look forward to more videos. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. It's always nice to hear them kind of good comments. Makes me kind of feel good about what I'm doing here on the channel. Let's see here. We have iRobbie GI. How to update the BIOS on the Gigabyte B450M DS3H motherboard. Awesome help, man. I appreciate it. Well, I appreciate you watching. Glad I could help you get that BIOS update on that motherboard. Who else do we got here? We have Bullet Cow. That's the way you pronounce that. That was on the Samsung curved monitor, 27-inch CF 396 unboxing and overview. I need help connecting to my PC. CF39. Let's see, the CF39. Is that it? Let me pull up a picture over here and see if I can help you. Let's look at the back here. There we go. There we go. There we go. Alright, right there's your got problems hooking up to your display. Or your display to your computer. You got an HDMI right there, and you have a VGA. You need to make sure you're hooking it up into your graphics card if you got a discrete graphics card. If not, you want to make sure you're running the cable straight onto the back of the motherboard if you're running onboard graphics. Of course, you gotta make sure it's plugged in, that there's your power outlet on the back of the monitor. Other than that, it should be pretty plug and play, as long as you got it connected to your graphics card or your onboard graphics, whichever way it may be. If you don't have one of these, if you don't have the VGA or the HDMI on your computer, which most modern computers have the HDMI, but if not, you know, you may need to get a converter cable or something to convert it over to whatever your PC is running. I hope that kind of helps you out. Bullet Kai again. I am very lost. And that was on the Samsung Curved. It's pretty straightforward on that process. I'm assuming he's talking about connecting it to his PC. Like I said, Massacre 1878. Afternoon, Dave. Hope you're well. I hope you're well too, buddy. Glad you joined me this morning. I'm glad to see my chat's actually working this morning. Glad you could join me. I'm assuming he's referring back to that connecting to the PC, which it's pretty simple. But you know, you just plug it into your graphics card, or you plug it into your onboard graphics. So you plug it into your motherboard. If you don't have a VGA or a HDMI port on your computer, which would be very what am I trying to think of? Unusual. Most computers nowadays has an HDMI cable port to it. So yeah, I don't see why. I don't see why you'd have much of a problem with that. Raylan Phillips, hey Dave, hope it all is well with you. Yeah, it's going pretty good. Enjoying my Saturday off. Working on some videos here this morning for the channel. I'm good. My 3-year-old loves Sonic, so I get to relive my youth and play through the old games. Mario next. Yeah, Sonic was a pretty good game back in the day. I actually enjoyed playing that one quite a bit. The Mario series, yeah, I enjoyed all the Marios. You've been excited by anything PC related recently? Nah, truthfully I haven't. You know, I guess the biggest thing that's kind of got me a little bit excited would be the Cyberpunk 2077 coming out, which that's game related. It really ain't PC related. You know, I mean, the performance of AMD's new processors, you know, that's pretty exciting, but you can't get them. You know, the new GPUs coming out, that's exciting, but you can't get them. So it's kind of, you know, it's kind of a hard topic to cover. You know, I mean, I'm excited about them, but I can't get my hands on them, so there ain't no sense in being too excited about them. Hopefully after the first of the year, by the middle of next year, that stuff will be readily available. But, you know, AMD's up there with the big Navi now, you know, competing in the high-end market for the GPUs. That's pretty big news. You know, the, what is it, 6900 and 6900 XT and the 6800, you know, I mean, that's pretty big news. AMD's took the lead over Intel for the first time in 20 plus years or so. You know, that's, you know, as far as the fastest gaming chip goes, you know, of course that's all fairly old news by now, but, that's pretty exciting to me. But, you know, without being able to buy it, it's kind of hard to get too motivated behind it. You know, other than that, you know, I was looking through some articles and whatnot this morning on some of the newer stuff that's came out and this and that, and I haven't really found a whole lot to get too excited about. You know, prices for RAM and SSDs is dropping. That's a good thing. That's You know, which they've been pretty reasonable in price for quite some time now. But you know, that's something to kind of look forward to, and maybe the NVMe drives will get a little bit more budget oriented. You know, but nothing really to get me too excited with, actually. Like I said, you know, AMD, you know, they're exciting, but can't get your hands on it, so there ain't much sense in getting too excited about it. It's just kind of, it is what it is right now. NK, hey Dave, felt encouraged to go for that RAM speed again after the last hangout, and even did some OC on my 3500X. Having a blast in games now. Greetings from Germany. Well, welcome in from Germany. Glad you came in, stopped in and said hi to me. Glad you got that RAM speed up for you. Did some overclocking on the 3500X. That makes a big difference in gaming, actually, to make sure your CPU's up to par to do what you want it to do. I'm glad you're enjoying them games a little bit better now. And that's one of the big things on the budget, or the lower side of things, is the overclocking. A lot of the budget motherboards really don't do the best at overclocking, but you know, when you're on a budget, you know, it's nice to have that overclocking to kind of get you up to where you want to be. Well, I'm glad I could help you get that RAM speed and that overclocking done on that RAM and CPU. Let's flip back over here and see what's left here. Like I said, you know, we have quite a few to go through here today. Azon Jungle Fever, I guess we pronounce that. Overclocking your RAM on the B550. Just tried your settings, just got it to work. I am running my R5 2600 at I guess it'd be 3.8, 16 gigs of FlareX 3200 megahertz speed RAM, now 3400 OC, FXX RX 580 gig card. Awesome, you taught me something new, and all my CPU cooler is Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro 4. So I'm planning on CPU OC beyond 4.0, but it's perfect right now, LOL. Well, sounds like you got it set up pretty nice. Sounds like pretty good system. 2600, 16 gigs of FlareX memory. You got overclocked to 3400 OC. That's actually pretty good on 3200 megahertz speed RAM kit. RX 580 8 gig card. Sounds like a great little 1080p gaming system. Dark Rock 4 Pro. That's pretty good cooler. Sounds like a good little system there. Let's hear Oblivion 69. I think that's the second comment we've had today from him. How to overclock your RAM with a Gigabyte B450M DS3H motherboard. Even though my motherboard and CPU supports 3200 megahertz of RAM speed, still whatever I set to 3200 or even 3000 with 1.35 volts to 1.4 volts, my PC restarts. I started playing in the game, it starts normally, everything goes fine till I do something extra. I have 8 gigs of 2 sticks of RAM, of course they're vengeance. You know, I get a lot of comments about Corsair RAM, and someone, I don't know, a couple months ago or so, actually, about what they said, I don't know if it's true or not, but Corsair does not certify that their RAM will work with an AMD Ryzen system. That's why you don't see me promoting too much on the channel. I try to stay away from Corsair because most of the builds I've been doing is AMD Ryzen based systems. So I mean, by what you're explaining in the comment, you know, you ain't gonna be able to get it up to the 3,000 speeds. You know, I'd go with a 2933, 2966 and be happy with it. Don't sound like you're going to get more than you know, you ain't going to be able to get up to 3,000 megahertz speeds out of it unless you want to replace your RAM kit. Like I said, you know, that's what somebody else said in the comment, that Corsair said that their RAM ain't compatible with AMD Ryzen processors. Kind of take that with a grain of salt, but that's what somebody else has said. So, yeah, there is that. Who else do we got here? The Gigabyte GeForce GTX 1650 OC, graphic card, performance and benchmarks. Slushy K, great video, Dave. Well, thank you. Mims says, yep. I think I did pretty good on that video. Got a comment here shortly that we're going to kind of get into here a little bit deep, but yeah, there's a few things I probably should have done a little bit different on that video. Blueberry Pie 157 on the Gigabyte GeForce 1650 OC. He says, hey, how you doing, Dave? I'm doing pretty good. I hope you're doing well, Blueberry Pie. Don't know if you're in chat today or not, but I hope you're doing well today if you're. Or if you're not in chat, I still hope you're doing well. I hope everybody's doing well. Who else do we got here today? We have Baby Coops. Surprise, yeah, something like that. How to overclock your RAM? Legend, thanks. Well, you're welcome. I hope I got you. Hope that RAM got up to the speed you're supposed to get out of it. We have John Christopher. How to build a PC in the Cooler Master Half XB Evo. Thanks for the video. The thermal paste. Did you use tape to spread the thermal paste over the CPU? It has been a decade since I built my computer, and thermal paste wasn't an issue. So thermal paste is something I've never done. Thanks for the detailed reply. The thermal paste, I do always spread mine out. I usually do use a piece of Scotch tape to spread out the thermal paste. Some people say you don't need to spread it out, you just have to put a glob in the middle and let it do its own thing. Me, I like to make sure it's well covered, you know. But yeah, I do use Scotch tape to spread it out. If you buy a stock heatsink, or an aftermarket heatsink actually, most of them come with thermal paste already applied, so unless you're reusing one, or yours don't come with thermal paste already applied, you still may not have to deal with thermal paste. Mr. Phillips, quick question, Dave. Would you recommend a Ryzen 3200G as the APU for a PC that's just going to be used for media and light production like MS Office? 3200G would be fine for that. I mean, if you want to save a few dollars, you can even go back to the 2200G. I mean, you're just using it for media and light production. Microsoft Office applications. You know, anything that's got the onboard graphics. You could probably even go back to one of the dual cores if you'd like to with the integrated graphics. Depending on what the media is. Media is, you're talking, what, videos and stuff like that. I'd probably stick with the 2200 or the 3200G. But you should be fine with that. Light productivity, like MS Office. Yeah, anything with an onboard graphics would be good. I mean, you're going to be limited by the graphics, but, you know, if you want to just play video playback, watching movies, TV, you know, dealing with MS Office, yeah, you'll be fine with a 3200G. Like I said, you can even go back to a 2200G. You may be able to find one decently used for a decent price. But I think that 3200 GD you get for what you're explaining there. Now, thermal paste, we done covered that one. Is that a repeat? Yeah, Oblivion 69. That was a repeat of the one I just answered down here. For some reason, they threw it on 2 different videos. Yeah, so I'm not going to re-answer that one. This one right here, I seen it when it came up. I was actually at work when it came up. Unless you're in chat and unless you're watching today, and you got a time frame constraint, I'm going to wait to the end after I get done with the rest of the Q&As to touch on this one. This one is by Fulzik D. Loves the Ball God. There's a reason why I'm coming back to this one. This is going to be pretty detailed. And I like the bottom over here. It says that's pretty much it. See you on the stream or when or if you respond to this comment. I will respond to this comment. I kind of like seeing these kind of comments. But we're going to wait till the end of wait till I get through the rest of the comments before I come back to this one. We will get back to you. Like I said, unless you're watching and you got time restraints, you can't hang out for a whole lot, then I'll go ahead and get into this one. But rather than that, I think we're going to wait till after I get done with the rest of the comments for that one. Because I have a feeling it's going to be pretty good, pretty big topic. We have Ray Andy Vizul, I guess we pronounce that. How to update the BIOS on the B450. Can you make the 450 Gen 4 compatible for NVMe? No, that's the chipset itself. If you want the Gen 4 compatibility for NVMe hard drives, you need to go with the B550 or the X570 motherboards. There's no way to make the 450 Gen 4 compatible. Not that I know of anyways. I don't believe it's because of the way the traces is and whatnot in the motherboards, it ain't possible. They wouldn't even be able to do it with BIOS updates. Who else do we got here? We got CGC Tronica, I guess the way you pronounce that. I don't know. That's the way I'm going to pronounce that one. How to overclock your Ryzen 3600 on the Asus B550A Wi-Fi motherboard. He says, hardware monitor is garbage, very inaccurate. Use hardware info. I actually downloaded hardware info after reading this one. Actually downloaded it this morning. Hardware monitor is garbage. That's, I don't know. I've never heard that. I've used it for years. It may be. It may have went to trash. Yeah, I'll look into it. I don't know. Maybe I ought to do some research on it or do some of my own testing to see if that hardware monitor actually is any good or not. But it's what I've always used for my systems and went by the info it gave off. But thanks for the advice. Maybe I'll start using hardware info instead, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We have Poop, I guess the way you pronounce that, PHU. The Gigabyte GeForce 1650 OC, performance and benchmarks. Amazing video. Wow, thank you. Appreciate that. We have Vixo2234. How to overclock your RAM on the B450. As always, Dave, you saved the day again. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. We have Nice Gaming. How to update the BIOS on the B450. Thank you very much. Well, you're welcome very much. I hope I helped you get that BIOS up to date for you and you get the performance out of it. Now let's see if there's anything else. Nothing held for review. Alright, now since we went through the questions and the comments and the concerns, We're going to go back down this one I skipped right here. All right. This is going to be a conversation piece. That's why I waited to the end for this one. This is, well, actually, there's one other one I'd like to touch on. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know why. I should have answered it last week. Let's see here. It was on one of the live streams. And I should have answered it. Nope, that ain't it. Should have answered it last week, but I didn't know it came through. For some reason, it wasn't showing up. I can't get it to show up this time either. Here we go. Nope, that ain't it. That one ain't it. I thought it was on episode 53. There was a message that was left, a comment that was left. It ain't a very important comment anyways, but, you know, I like to answer them all. Is they showing up anymore? I don't know what's going on with it. Felix Z loves the ball game. Yes, I have heard there were some problems with the Verizon. I have never experienced them myself, though. Yeah, me neither. All the builds that you see me do with the Verizon seem to be pretty good builds. Seem to go pretty good. Yeah, but that Corsair Vengeance RAM, I have heard that, you know, like I said, someone's told me that Corsair says that they qualified to be Verizon compatible. I'm glad you're here, bud. Loves the ball god. I'm glad you're here. I'm getting ready to get into your comment. I'm glad you came to hang out with me. I like the bottom part. It says that's pretty much it. See you on the stream or when or if you respond to this comment. I respond to all comments. And I kind of waited till the end to do yours because this may take some time. So let's flip you over here and we'll see what your comment was here. Says, alright, since I liked your videos, I have decided to make a list of things you could improve. Alright, here we go. This is what I like. You know, I like people that leave comments, tell me how to improve my channel. You know, be it good or be it bad, I like criticism. Some of the stuff that I agree with. Some of the stuff, not so much. You know, but it's kind of a personal opinion as far as you go, and a personal opinion of mine. Let's see here, thumbnails. Number one was the thumbnails. I don't know if it's just me, but orange text on black rectangle isn't pretty at all. You know, that's one of them things that not everybody's going to agree with. I understand that. Me personally, I'm kind of fond of orange, and I'm kind of fond of black, and I think the orange kind of pops out in the black, and as long as I stick with the same type of text and the same colors, you know, it's going to make my videos a little bit more detailed and kind of stick out to people. That's why I kind of do it that way. Clifford Remos. Hey, sir. Dave, it's safe 24/7 this computer. Is it safe 24/7 this computer? Blueberry Pie 157. Hey Dave, how you doing? Doing good, buddy. I'm glad you joined me. Clifford, you mean is it safe for you to run your computer 24/7? My computer never shuts down. I leave mine on constantly. You know, some people say you should turn them off at nighttime. Some say you shouldn't. Me, I leave mine running all the time. I mean, mine's even hooked into the network constantly. But It's alright to let it run 24/7. You know, the orange and black, it's kind of a personal preference. Me, you know, it's kind of how I built the channel. I think the orange pops pretty good on the black background, on the black boxes. You know, I've had quite a few people tell me I need to work on my thumbnails. Basically, it comes down to a time frame thing. You know, I've heard a lot of people that do YouTube and do videos, you know, they take 6 to 8 hours to edit a video. Most generally, I got 6 to 8 hours to film a video, edit a video, come up with a thumbnail, do my research, do the tags, the title, the description, all that. You know, I've got less time to put into one whole video than what most people do just in the editing video. You know, so my thumbnails are pretty sketchy at times. They don't look the best. The orange and black, I kind of built that to be the theme around the channel. You know, anytime it comes up in a suggested video, it comes up on your home page, you see that orange inside the black, you're going to know it's going to be one of my videos. You know, I don't see nobody else doing it. That's why I've done it. You know, I looked at a lot of different videos. I looked at a lot of different creators, and nobody else had that orange inside the black. That's kind of why I went with it, and I am kind of fond of the colors. You know, I think the orange kind of pops inside of the black. I think it kind of sticks out. Blueberry Pie 157, I have a lot of doubts, so you have to bear with me. Doubts? What kind of doubts you got? It's life. Let me hear about some of the doubts you got in your life, buddy. But yeah, I'll be more than willing to bear with you. I don't have a problem with that. Alright, number 2 complaint, or suggestion, I guess I should call them. Ports and FRAP info. The ports list is literally some text in a Word document. You was correct, that's all it was. FRAP's info takes up too much space on the screen in my opinion, and both are ugly. As far as the FRAPs take up too much space, you're right. I made the black box a little bit too big. I could probably, my idea behind that, you know, that black box was a little big. And I had the mobile user in mind when I made the font as big as I did, because I wanted it to be legible. You know, when you're looking at a benchmark, them FRAPs and you know, how well the game performed is actually key. You know, that's why a lot of people watch them kind of videos. That's kind of why I made it so big. That way it's a little bit bigger for a screen for somebody that's on mobile. Maybe I was wrong with that. You know, like I said, as far as the black box around the edges, it was a little too big in that 1650 OC edition. Even when I did the 5600, I went back and watched that video. It seemed to be a little bit bigger than what it should have been. Maybe I ought to cut down on the font size some, which I don't use mobile a whole lot. So, you know, I never go back and watch my videos on mobile. I always watch on PC. But that's something I'll take into consideration. Maybe a font don't have to be as big. And you're right about the big black box. It covers up too much of the screen. I understand that. The ports list, that was the first time I ever did a ports list like that. You know, I did just throw them in a Word document, change the colors of it, and that's what I went off of. If you go back and watch my other, which I know you guys don't have access to this information, but in my analytics, if I go back and watch like the 5600 XT benchmarks, or the benchmarks on some of the older graphics cards that I've done, that part of the video, when I've went on a Newegg and showed you port for port, as far as videos go, that gets skipped by a lot of people. A lot of people ain't interested in that aspect, even though, you know, to me, that's pretty important information to have in the benchmarking session. You know, you need to know what kind of ports they was using. You know, I get questions all the time, you know, hey, what RAM was you using? What was this you was using? What was that using? That's why I break down them ports for you. That way I don't get them questions. But, you know, some of my older videos, the 5600 XT video, the benchmarks on it, if you go back and watch that one, I went through Newegg and broke down, you know, showed you the listing for each port. But in that video, in the analytics port, everybody's skipping that. You know, so people ain't interested in seeing it that way. That's why I tried just the text on the screen. You know, this is the ports that make up the system. Ran down through them real quick and got on with the video because a lot of people skip them. That's kind of why I tried it that way. Did it look the best? No, it didn't look the best. But it was something different I tried. And actually, by the analytics on that graphics card, there ain't so many people skipping that port of it. Maybe I could throw it in GIMP or something, make it look a little bit better. But, you know, if people ain't skipping through that part of the video, you know, it looks better on YouTube's port. So, you know, maybe I can work on that a little bit. Maybe I can throw it, make a picture out of it instead of just a simple text document. You know, we'll see what happens with that one. Blueberry Pie 157. Does RAM speed really matter on Intel CPUs? For example, 8 gigs, 2133 or 2666. Will there be a huge difference on Intel? Intel, you will see a difference. It ain't as massive as what you see on AMD, but it does make a little bit of a difference. Even with an Intel chip, if you can overclock your RAM, you're still going to see quite a bit of difference in it. Like I said, it ain't going to be as much as what you're going to see on AMD Ryzen processors, but you will see a bit of performance boost in it. Let's see here, Daniel. Hey Dave, do you think 6 gigabytes of VRAM is enough for playing heavy games in 1080p for the next few years? 6 gigs of VRAM playing heavy games. I think you're talking AAA titles, 1080p. Yeah, I think you'd be alright with 6 gigs of RAM. The big thing with 1080p is you gotta make sure you got a big enough processor. You know, 1080p is more dependent on the processor than 1440p or 4K is. But I think 6 gigs will be fine for the next couple of years. You're looking at next year, next 2 years. I think 6 gigs RAM will be fine for your VRAM. Depending on the titles you play, even the AAA titles, I think you'll be alright. I don't think it's going to hold you back too much. Loves the B game, loves the ball game. In Metro Exodus, I saw someone using 9900K testing both, and there was 10 to 20 fraps difference between them. When you're talking about the VRAM there, I'm assuming. About the RAM speeds. Yeah, Intel they do benefit quite a bit. I don't have an Intel system to run any kind of test like that. But Intel does still benefit from having a higher speed RAM. Like I said, it ain't quite as much as what Ryzen does by overclocking the RAM. But you do see pretty good performance boost even with the Intel. Let's flip you guys back over here. Enough of seeing my mug. Look at my mug too much, give you nightmares. Let's see here. The ports and the fraps. Kind of explained that a good bit. That's pretty well down to what people skipping through as far as the ports. The fraps thing, I agree with you. I did make them a little too big. But like I said, I was looking for the mobile users that's got a smaller screen. That's why I kind of made them so big. Maybe I did that wrong. Benchmarks. If you want to see how a PC I am planning to build performs, I would like to have gameplay footage that is not sped up. Frame time counter wouldn't hurt either. That was actually the first benchmarking video that I did speed up the time, the game footage. If you go back and watch the 5600 XT benchmarks, I didn't speed it up at all. You know, maybe that was a bad choice on my part. You know, maybe I shouldn't have sped it up. But when it comes to Heaven benchmark, when it comes to Division 2, comes to Borderlands 3, I don't know. Would you guys be interested in setting to a 20 or 30 minute benchmark video? I don't know. I don't think a lot of people would be interested in watching it. But you kind of touch that down here on number 5 as well. But it's kind of why I sped it up. I didn't want it to be a real long video. You know, I mean, it was under 8 minutes for 6 games. Maybe I did a bad thing by speeding up that footage. Maybe I should have left it alone, let it run at normal speeds, and just, you know, maybe not show quite as much of footage of each one. But as far as the building benchmarks and the Heaven benchmarks, you know, to me, you kind of need to watch the whole thing to see where the end up's at. So yeah, it's you know, like I said, that's the first time I ever sped up the game footage like that. Maybe I did a bad thing on that one, I don't know. You don't have to show the whole benchmark. A minute of gameplay for each one would be fine. That's what I was getting ready to comment on. You know, that was going to be my next thing. You know, like Apex Legends, on Fortnite, even on CSGO. You know, you do a lot of running around before you actually get into the action. Maybe I could cut it down to maybe a minute or so of the action part of it. You know, which is going to have your biggest drop in frame rate. The frame time counter, that'd be easy to add into them. You know, I could add that in. I didn't know a whole lot of people actually paid attention to the frame timing. But, you know, I could add that in. That's easy. It's just a little checkbox inside the settings to show that. You know, but, you know, like I said, you know, with the Heaven benchmarks, the built-in benchmarks, I don't know, I kind of like showing the whole things, you know. I mean, I could run them at regular gameplay footage, at regular speeds. But your tip number 5 also kind of goes into that as well. You know, if you don't want to sit through it, you could always fast forward through it, or you could go to the next section. Alright, we got number 4 here. Music. It's probably just me, but I don't change the music to something with less annoying, aka without the ah. Making it quieter, removing it when you are talking would be nice too. Blueberry Pie 157. Is the GTX 1650 good for gaming on DirectX 12? Like on Fortnite, COD, Warzone, Apex Legends, and other similar titles. As long as you're playing 1080p, even at Fortnite, you know, I did Fortnite at competitive settings, and I was reaching up into the 200 frame rate on that game. COD Warzone, I'd be probably about the same thing that I was getting on Borderlands 3. Probably medium settings. You should be doing alright with that one. Apex Legends, I actually showed Apex Legends in that video. Well, you're asking about the 1650, which that's the OC version. 1650 OC, yeah, about the same thing actually. Apex Legends, you know, as long as you're willing to turn back some of the settings or whatnot, you know, which I think Apex Legends was actually on high settings when I did that video. You know, I was doing pretty good as far as frame rate goes. Unless you want to go with a higher refresh rate, I think that 1650 will do you good, even in DirectX 12. I don't see, well, DirectX 12 is supposed to be actually easier on the hardware than what DX11 is. But Fortnite, I was running over 200 frames per second on it. COD Warzone, I don't think it's quite as hard as Borderlands 3. So as long as you run medium settings, Apex Legends, I believe that was on high settings. And like I said in the video, you know, I was aiming for the 60 frames per second because that's what gamers want. And yeah, I was running over 60 frames per second on average on Apex Legends at 1080p with high settings. I think it's a good little, I think it's actually a good little value for 1080p gaming. As long as your CPU ain't going to be holding you back, I think it's a good little value. And even that 3100 I had in that system, which I actually got the system sold, I think it's a good combination. I think it's a good little 1080p gamer. If you're looking at 60 frames per second, I think it does pretty good for it. As far as the music goes, you know, I have had quite a few people tell me that I need to put in background music. I've only did that in, I think, 2 different videos, but I don't like it. The background music while I'm talking, I don't like it. I've always done it while I did, you know, whenever I do a time lapse of my builds, I've always done it. When I do gameplay footage, you know, like in the benchmarks, I've always put in background music. But I really don't like the way it ends up when I'm talking. To me, it's just a little bit more distracting. So I'm probably going to do away with the music altogether while I'm talking. Because you kind of focus on the music more than you do on what I'm saying. And as far as the music being annoying, I don't know, I kind of like the music. You know, again, that's personal preference. But, you know, I don't think I'm going to be putting any more music into my background while I'm talking. I tried it for a couple of videos, and once I end up editing it out and it compresses, or YouTube gets done compressing it, I don't like the sound of the music in the background. I think it's a little bit more distracting. That's just me. Yeah, so I agree with you kind of on the music, you know. Yeah, if you watch the 5600 XT benchmarks, you know, I didn't have music in it. You know, just the last few videos I tried the background music while I'm talking. I don't care for it. You know, I mean, I know it's kind of what you guys feel about it more than what I feel about it, to keep people tuned in and watching, but I really don't care for it when I'm talking. I actually had a couple people recommend me to put background music throughout my videos, but I don't care for it myself, particular. You should do like a $900 or $1,000 build whole gaming setup video. It would be nice to watch because I am planning to build a PC gaming setup. So you asking for a gaming setup for $900? I've actually thought about branching off into doing some setups with, you know, monitor, keyboard, mouse, you know, everything else besides just the computer. But when you get into peripherals like that, when you get into monitors, you get into keyboards, you get into mouse, you get into stuff like that, you know, it's very, you know, when you're building a computer, it's pretty cut and dry. As far as, you know, if you want this type of performance at this kind of dollar, this is what you need. you know, when you get into monitor setups, you get into keyboard and mouse to go along with a setup. There's a lot of variants depending on what you're looking for. I've thought about doing some setups, but I don't know. I've never really ventured into that area. But for $900 to $1,000 for a complete setup, and when you're looking at $900 to $1,000 setups, are you looking at, you know, and it all comes into effect. You know, mouse pads, keyboard, mice, headsets, monitors. You're playing on streaming, you're gonna need a webcam. You know, if you're gonna be doing any kind of streaming or whatever, you know, you're gonna have to make sure your headphones has got a mic to it, or you're gonna have to have some kind of mic to add to it. You know, with the setups, there's a lot of different angles to actually look at. Like I said, you know, I've actually thought about doing the, you know, this whole setups instead of just the builds. That's something I'll take into consideration and see what I think of it. You know, you're looking at $900 to $1,000 build. You're looking at like the $600 build I put together. That'd leave you $300 to $400 for the rest of your peripherals, depending on the size of monitor you want as well. You know, what kind of, you know, apparently you're going to want 1080p, I'm assuming. You know, you want a 27-inch monitor like I enjoy, or would you be happy with a 24-inch monitor or a 22-inch monitor? You know, there's a lot of variance within a setup that kind of makes it hard to do them kind of videos. But like I said, I have thought about doing them setup videos. Maybe it's something I'll take into a little bit more consideration now, since I know someone's actually interested in watching something like that. And I know usually, you know, the setup videos do pretty good on YouTube. Yeah, I'll take it into consideration. Maybe I'll put one together for you. But like I said, you know, when it comes to peripherals, headsets, microphone, webcams, keyboard and mouse pads, you know, do you want a full-size mouse pad where your keyboard and mice set in? Do you want a small one just for your mouse? You know, there's a lot of variance in them kind of things, and it's all pretty well down to personal preference. You know, I hate to say, okay, buy this 27-inch monitor when you'd be happy with a 24-inch monitor and save money on that to put into your keyboard and mouse combo. I don't know. There's a lot of whats and ifs and different ways to look at that. 22 or 24-inch, probably good enough for me. I just want a game at 1080p, 60 fraps, medium to high settings. Medium to high settings, 1650 is right up your line. A $600 build would do great. You know, you pick up a decent 1080p monitor, 22, 24-inch monitor. You probably want a TN panel if gaming's your main thing. You pick one of them up fairly cheap. But maybe I'll look into doing a setup. I've actually got that $600 gaming PC sold as a Christmas gift for somebody. I actually need to put some time into it and get ready to sell. But maybe I'll look into doing some setups for you, if I can keep the systems long enough. And it's kind of hard to do the setups because that means I have to actually buy the monitors and need to actually buy the keyboards and the mice and whatnot. I don't know, not unless I do it kind of like I do my ports list, but they don't do very well for the channel. But I'll definitely think about doing a setup for you for 22 to 24 inch with that $600 gaming PC. I mean, it gives you quite a bit of options. Me personally, I'm kind of old, so I kind of like my 27 inch. I like that big. I like everything that looks zoomed in, even though it ain't zoomed in. I don't know. That's just me. At my age. Alright, the last thing on this comment that I've been going over. NK, I grabbed some coffee and food. Looking forward for more gigabyte content in the future. I think I want to check out if I find more info about Corsair RAM and Ryzen. Nice chilled hangout again. Yeah, that's kind of why I named it what it is. Just kind of hang out and talk tech and whatnot, you know. And let me know what you found out about that Corsair RAM. Like I said, you know, that came from somebody else in the comments that they contacted Corsair, and Corsair said that they wasn't validated to be a Ryzen supported RAM company. Kind of interesting to see how that actually works out. Which I could probably go back through the comments and find them, but it'd take me forever and a day to find out who said it and when it was said. But Corsair, by what that person said, you know, they claimed that Corsair ain't qualified vendor or whatever for Ryzen processor. You know, there's no guarantee that their RAM's gonna work for Ryzen. NK, yeah, it's interesting. I'll check you later. See ya. You have a good day, buddy. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and thanks for hanging out with me today. And this last one. Number 5, YouTube. I'd make these funny bookmark thingies. Not really sure on what a bookmark thingy is. And put minute and second when a game benchmark starts and the pinned comment for mobile users. I'm assuming you're talking about doing a, oh hell, I'm drawing a blank on it. I know what you're talking about on that one. Can't think of the proper term for it. Blueberry Pie 157. It's almost 11 p.m. in my place, so I gotta go. Sorry for leaving so early. I will see you again Saturday or maybe sometime later. Wi-Fi can't sleep. Alright, Blueberry Pie, thanks for hanging out with me for as long as you did. I hope you get some good night. Hope you get some good sleep. Spelling mistake. That's alright. No big deal, bud. You enjoy your sleep, and hope you get some rest. Thank you for hanging out with me as long as you have. Timestamps. That's what they're called. I'd make them funny bookmark things. They're called timestamps. And put them in a pinned comment. That way you can skip through the video. I could do something like that maybe. Be a little bit time consuming to be able to do so. I've never really put timestamps down for any of my videos. Which I could do that. For mobile users, you know, like I said, I don't know much about the mobile. I really don't. You know, I really don't watch a whole lot on mobile. Usually when I do have time to watch videos, or I'll watch my videos back, it's usually on the PC. It really ain't on mobile. You know, I mean, I'll take some of that into consideration. Right, timestamps. Yeah, timestamps. That's the name of them thingamabobs. Them thingamadoos. You know, you do have some points in there, you know. Like I said, you know, the music thing, I tried it for a couple of videos. I don't care too much for the music while I'm talking. I think I'm going to cut that completely out. I tried it for a couple of videos. I'm not happy with it. I don't, you know, it's like when I play through the gameplay, you know, if you're watching a benchmark video and it's got gameplay in it, you know, I think it's alright to have music. Or whatever I do, like the $600 build, budget entry-level gaming PC build that I did, You know, you do the time lapse of the build process. You know, I think it's alright to have music in there, but when I'm talking or I'm explaining something, you know, to me the music's just more of an annoyance or more of a distraction to what I'm trying to teach or what I'm trying to, you know, show you how to do what. So the music thing is definitely, I think I'm going to quit putting that in altogether. As far as what you want to see on the gameplay footage, you know, not sped up. You know, like I said, that was the first time I've done that, you know, sped it up like that. Maybe I made a mistake on that. The frame time counter, I can add that with no problem. That's no big deal. The orange on black, I think I'm going to stick with. You know, as far as the FAPs and whatnot, during the gameplay, I think I do need to downsize them. I actually need to watch them videos and see how that comes out on mobile. Because it looks like a lot of your, what you're talking about for mobile users. Which, like I said, I never really watch my videos on mobile. I don't, you know, so I'm not too sure how they even look. I don't even know how my thumbnails even look on mobile. But the black and orange, that's kind of a staple of the channel. You know, if something comes up in your suggested feed or recommended videos, and you see that orange and black, it's going to kind of stick in your mind that it's me. And that's kind of why I'm trying to stick with that. It ain't the prettiest, I understand that. But there's also a reason why Reese's has used that for years. That's pretty much it. See you on the stream or when or if you respond to this comment. I will definitely respond. It's comments like that, you know, I like to hear your guys' opinion on what I'm doing on the channel. You know, I like to know what you guys think about what you see on my videos and whatnot. You know, I'm still learning. You know, I've been doing YouTube now for, well, on and off for about 5 years. But I'm still learning every day. My biggest thing is I don't have a whole lot of time. You know, like I mentioned earlier, you know, a lot of people take 6 to 8 hours to edit out a video. I got 6 to 8 hours to film a video, to edit a video, come up with a thumbnail, the title, tags, and description. You know, all that's got to come within that 6 to 8 hours of time that I have to put into a video. You know, one of these days, maybe I'll be able to come up with more time to put into the channel, which I'm hoping to be able to do. But right now, it just ain't possible. I got too much other stuff going on. You know, I work a full-time job. I work 50 to 60 hours a week at the minimum. I do have a girlfriend I enjoy spending time with. You know, I do have a life outside of YouTube and my full-time job. You know, I do own my home. I do own my own home. So, you know, I got to put time aside to fix anything that breaks or when it breaks, or, you know what I mean? I mean, you know, most of my free time is put into YouTube and creating videos and whatnot. To be able to find more time to do it, to be able to get better. You know, my thumbnails, they've been mentioned quite often to me that I need to improve my thumbnails. You know, YouTube says, you know, your click-through rate's usually 2 to 10%. I'm usually at the higher threshold of that. I'm usually a little bit over 10% per month on my click-through rate. Right now, I think I'm hitting like 9.9, 9.8 click-through rate. But, you know, I would like to get better with this kind of stuff. But my biggest thing is the time frame of it. You know, someone mentioned before, you know, as far as my thumbnails go, I could hire somebody off like Fiverr or something like that to do my thumbnails. You know, I don't, you know, even though I'm monetized right now, why is my stream health poor now all of a sudden? No, unless my internet's acting up. I hope that the stream's going alright. I got an error here on YouTube not receiving enough video to maintain smooth stream. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Now, sorry if you guys is experiencing buffering. I don't know what's going on. Must be something within my internet. Now I lost track of what I was talking about. Yeah, but anyways, that pretty well wraps up that comment and question. You know, the music thing, I don't plan on doing that no more. You know, the timestamps, that's a pretty good idea. You know, if I get time to do it. That's the main thing is, you know, that's my point. My time for putting into YouTube and whatnot is very, very limited. I am monetized on YouTube, but I don't make a whole lot. So the pace I want to make my thumbnails and whatnot for me is kind of out of a question, you know. Someone said on Fiverr they'll actually do for a percentage of whatever the video makes. Well, you know, these videos is up for a long time. I still got some of my videos from 5 years ago. It's still making me money, you know. So I'm paying somebody for 5 years for creating a thumbnail. You know, it just don't make much sense to me. But, you know, as time goes on and the channel grows, the community grows, maybe I can come up with more time to be able to do what I need to do. As far as the channel itself, we did pretty good this past 7 days, I guess. We've gained 20 subscribers into the community for the past 7 days. That's pretty good. I think the channel is growing pretty good for no better than what I am at doing this kind of stuff anyways. Don't look like we have any new comments or questions or concerns. The video coming up this week, I've been working on it, which you can actually see. Yeah, it's over that shoulder right there. It is the budget RGB lighting and fans. Put it in your computer. I did the how to install ARGB and RGB into a computer, but that wasn't very budget friendly. So I put in five fans and 2 strips in that one. It's a little bit more budget friendly. Maybe not a lot of people will think it's budget friendly, but when you compare it to what I paid for 3 fans alone in my system, it's pretty budget friendly. And you're getting 5 fans and 2 strips. That'll be this week's video. I need to get the $600 gaming PC ready for a guy by next week. I don't know if I'll have time to do much more videos on that or not. I got quite a list to do on that computer to get it ready for him and these 12-year-old boys buying it for Christmas. But yeah, there ain't nothing else coming in through chat. You guys don't have any other questions, comments, or concerns. I think I'm pretty well wrapped up for this weekend. Been going for, about an hour and 20 minutes, I guess. That's pretty good for a live stream, I guess, for the weekend. Oh, get back up here in the position I should have been instead of sleeping on y'all. But I think it's gonna pretty well wrap it up for today, guys. I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me. I want to thank y'all for watching the videos and the likes and the shares and the comments. You know, them comments is what kind of keeps this live show going. That's what the live show's about. I want to thank y'all that's been here and hanging out with me for the last hour and a half or so. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Yeah, and I think it's going to pretty well wrap it up. So if you like this kind of content, make sure you go down there and give me a like. If not, there's that dislike button. There's also a comment section below. I go through them every weekend here on my live stream, 11 o'clock Saturday morning, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. Why didn't that one come up? There we go. And if you really like this kind of content, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell where you're notified next time I put out a video or go live here on YouTube. And also, if you're interested, there's links below in the description for Instagram and Twitter. I don't give you your inbox, but I do show products that I got coming in to kind of give you an idea of what's coming up on the channel or whatnot as far as videos go. As well, if there's anything that changes with my live stream, if I got to change the date or the time of my live show, that will be also where you get that information from. With all that being said, you all enjoy the rest of your weekend, and you have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video or live stream.